So, hello everybody. My name is Endre Gaal. I'm an artist from Hungary. I'm based in Budapest. I had my studies at Applied Arts Academy in Budapest, and after 2 years, I started there my teaching practice for 15 years. And in that time, early 90s, I also was a director of the International Glass Symposiums, which held in Bábudvarok and Tokod. It's two different places in Hungary. And also I was a president of Hungarian Glass Art Society through nearly 10 years. When I go to introduce a few parts of my works, especially small sculptures and open air and public sculptures, architectural works, and a bit about my installations. And also we have sometimes had together land art and natural works. So I start with small sculptures. I originally studied, had an education as stone carving, and I use this technique also with the glass. I cast glass blocks, and after that start to work with it. Use the diamond wheels and so on. And sometimes combined with different materials as stone and cast glass and flat glass together, and my attention orientated to how can I how can I play with place inside and outside, and look in and directly or just semi and outside forms and inside form. How is it possible to combine different things? But I was frustrated about a dimension, about the border of the possibilities to use the blast, because at that point I must take a short stop to inform you and light up the situation in 90s in Hungary, because we were under the Russian occupation, and 80s, and it's known as we were under the Iron Curtain. And this means we had so poor conditions with materials and also with different techniques. And I'm just later, after one of the Paris exhibition, we had an invitation to Coburg Glass Factory, and that time I saw a really nice and big amount of glass. It's probably 2-3 cubic meter of clear optical glass, one block, and so it's shown me I never I never had the possibility to work such a nice dimensions, with the dimensions of glass. So it was one thing which showed me to I must find another way to also for my ideas much compatible thinking and working with a large scale and large size than small sculptures. It was nice because at that period, because I had exhibitions in Europe, in Japan, in States, but I must realize that it's not my life. So, as it's approximately half by half meter, or less, just around. It was exhibited in the Berliner Art Fair and sold there. And the next connected to this work, I started to work in black and white after I had a trip in the States, in a run trip. And it was really a shock because the state life and the state culture, for me, it looks like an uncultural and generally and population, and so colorful on the surface, but not so much deepness in the culture. And after that, I started to work with black and white. And also, this is the starting point when I start to work with flat glass. Because flat glass give a possibility to work with a larger scale. And I also that time used choke and pinch to modify the surface and also roughed cards and so on. And start to use the recycled materials like this basic construction formed used floor woods pellets. But sometimes my attention turned to other materials. After we had together with Agnes a possibility to participate in iron sculpture symposium in Hungary. At that time I meet with metal dust. There's a big container and filled with this dust. And also beside there was such an amount of large metal tubes and different forms. So it was a possibility to use them. But I started to work with metal dust, and later I combined with glass and magnet. And a freestanding sculpture just connected and fixed by the magnet. And it's standing on the lead layer. It's the concept, just one background information, because lead, as you know, it's blood radiation. It's the magnet radiation. It's also the magnet radiation's stuff. So it's so many things connected to the magnification and also the ferromagnet. So it's a long story, but we have, but I have many other things to big.
Did the curved glass came from something recycled as well, or did you curve it yourself?
Sorry, once more.
The curved glass.
Yeah.
Was found like this, or?
Yeah, one of my friends sometimes at the commission works, I cooperate and work together with a small company, and sometimes they give me a possibility. They produce, but some don't pay it or just a sample was or anything else. Yes, several. So most of the large-scale glass I get as a rest of something. So I will say which one is. So, and just lead back to the symposiums. So Hungary in 90s, when I organized the symposiums, was in a right situation because it's just on the border to east and west, between in the middle, and it's positioned like a bridge, a cultural bridge between east and west. For Eastern artists, it seems that is a kind of West because it's we can, but I can say in a socialistic camp, we were the happiest part.
They
so
always said that.
they bit always it's a little bit different than others, and they just like it happier. But so, and one sample, a girl, a lady is Karen Lemon, who is, one of the famous glass artists, even artist nowadays in the States and the world. And it happened around 2000, and he also was one of the participants of the symposium, also James and Matthew Duran from UK. But from Japan, from States, from Korea, and Israel, and several places of the world were the participant, and it was a symposiums because it's so familiar. It's it's a countryside in a small village, and the 1 week through the 1 week period, all the artists together, we eat together, sleep together. So let's step back. So we eat together, and so we had very nice times, and it's give the possibility the artist to renew the ideas and because a fresh new area and new contacts, and it's not only the culture exchange, but also the mind a bit refreshed. Each one can refresh the his own mind, but his mind. So, next one. It was a beginning. All the equipment made by ourselves, and but we use different technique, like a sandcasting, blowing, carving, engraving, lamp work, and so on. this is the last one. After the economic crisis, most of the glass factories closed in Hungary, and a year ago opened a new one in Salgótarján. New and great because they work for Rosenthal. As you know, Rosenthal is one of the biggest tablewares trades, and so they decided to organize the first symposium in a new factory. The next one is my architectural works. This is one of the first commission work of me. It's a 120 square meter lead glass roof. It's commissioned by bank, but it's so many years ago. So it's a really early one. But at the rest of the colored glass sheets, I till now I have so much, and I tried thinking what can I do with the rest of the glasses, and I cut them very thin sticks and use another form. And I had the possibility to use as a slave of okay, it's blackout. How do you call this? Column. Okay, sorry. So, you know, I had an accident in same situation. I just stay in a cross, and that's okay, fine. And accident because it's a blackout. it's quality as a blackout. So, yeah, please.
Can you tell us? You've cut those glass into strips. Yes?
Yeah.
Into thin strips.
Yeah.
And then you fuse them together again.
Yeah. It's a crazy doll.
How do you get them?
Good question. Yeah. So it was a big question. How can I manage this work in a limited time? Because I get this commission in May and finished early October. And before I haven't so big exercise and highs going on, because just the two hands size is nothing to do, and also it needed special equipment and so on. So my idea was to I made a sketch, and it's projected to the wall, and draw the life-size. And after that, I had a colored sketch, and transformed to the life-size. And I bought hundreds of square meter colored glass, and it's crazy because it's a nice and ready glass, and so after that I use this as a like a mosaic. So reach full and four or five different tone and color blue just in blue. And but the inspiration was few years before, I had a trip in Israel, and the sea and the desert and so on. It goes together. No, so I used the prepared ceramic form as a half cylinder, and in the cold they just I used also the paper behind, put together the sticks, and with paper I put another form, which is the plaster form, but just a plaster powder, and you can see that in the next, and it gives me a possibility to give them a special surface, the structure and the surface.
How thick is the glass itself?
It's the color part was around 1 centimeter, and top of it, I mean in a key on top of it, 2-3 millimeters clear glass, because I need enough strong, enough strong, and also. Sorry?
Do you have to do tests on your glass? To
Test?
See,
Test.
To
It's
see-
another nice question, because as I told you, at that time we had a very poor conditions, and that glass I bought from Dutch and different places, and after a small, like this size test, it seems it's okay. But when I get the commission and start to work with a life size, it's one through the mouse, every piece is just broken. And that, what can I do? So finally, and find the right combination, and because of not a colored part, but the clear, I mean, the white glass was a problem. And so find to compare good combination, it's taken me a month. So, and yeah.
What kind of glass do you use?
It's nowadays you cannot buy this one, but I show another work. This one. For this I used Desag Artista, because it's so perfect for this kind of works, as I had an experience. It's okay? No. So, and the start was certainly with a sketch and a model. Also, I made metal parts, and in the studio just prepared the lighting system. This work I made for a Hungarian embassy in Berlin. And the title of the work is Danube, because from Germany to north through the Europe running the Danube, and the architect who was who made the interior design, because it was an application. So 3 artists was invited for this application, and I get it. So, and this sculpture shows the part of the section of Danube, which you can see in Budapest, and the metal part, it's modelized bridges, different, not so just with. Yeah. Okay. So, and the just a detail of construction. The next period is installation work. First, one of the first installation I made when I got the state prize, and it's a middle 90s, and that was the new way. But I start to use from the moment. It combined the nature things like red wine in the middle down, and foil and wood and used wood and new one, and on the floor I just make a kind of graphic motif, and so it's so many things together, and it shows after a week the wine modification, and also at the vernissage each guest get a baby cake. I don't know how you call it. It's a cake, which babies like it so much. No, it's no.
Rusk.
Right?
They
Possible?
buy it for their tea.
Yeah, it's and also you can. Yeah. But it's so nice to use together with red wine.
Oh yeah.
And all the guests have the possibility to drink in the red wine. But the guy who opened the exhibition, he was a bit late and doesn't realize what for is, and just drop in the wine, in the wine, and this is that. So, but the story behind it's much deeper than the vernissage. Maybe next time. Not now because. This work I made in Haapsalu in Estonia, and I used together glass and stone. It's the same way, because as I told. So it's lovely to mix the things with same shape, but different meaning, a different effect.
So did you start with the glass or start with the stone?
I started as an artist. It doesn't matter what kind of material
I
you
meant
used.
to make, when you made this, did you think of it and then just go off and make them both, or did you make the plates of glass first and then think of them?
Good question. No, I think we visited at the stone excavation of
Quarry, yeah.
yeah, and I saw there this rest of them just rough carving process. The rest of the stone, and after that I think it's possible to if I find enough big glass pieces, I can broke it the same way and combine.
So that's just broken from a block?
Yeah. Not real blocks, something like the hard glass. Hard glass is when the furnace rebuilt or and the bottom of the we call it hard glass. Yeah, it's after the German because most of the name of the glass equipment hand tools and so on came from Germany. Because as I know, the amazement of glass crafts, it's from Venice and also from Germany, the Bad Hütten glass. No? Okay. Sorry, I won't give you the homework. So, Next one, I made it after I visited in first time in Israel, no, from in India, and it's after the influence of meeting of the very nice and great culture of India, and just compare with Greek culture, and because in my country, basically the art history closed at the Greek part, and just very few points of Far East culture we studied. And it was a shock to me to see how rich was that kind of culture, and just partly known, and the most of them forgotten. We forgot it, and it was one way, and the other connection is life is its life possibility. It's need a light, a sunlight, and it was the inspiration to use the flat glasses between the earth and the light in the different colors, color light coming through the a bit same meaning that if you know the Egypt so different layers are covering each other after the next culture coming and just be it done.
Evolution.
Okay, evolution, but
Archaeology.
yeah, but
Yes.
special. It's also
Excavation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah, if
okay.
you go
I
and then you
Yeah,
find
consider
So-
yeah.
I think the
Sedimentary layers.
six, seven layers, different culture. That, yeah. The next one, I followed to use the natural materials and scratch it with artificial materials. It's happened after I born in countryside of Hungary, and later I moved to Budapest and came as a city guy and just forget everything about nature. And many years later, when I bought a house with gardens, I just meet again. Oh, such a nice. It's green, it's growing, and so on. And so after that, I start to work with natural materials, and also, as I told you, in my sculptures and in my meaning, so important to realize the light, so important us. And but everyday light, it's not so visible, realizable than the red light. So that's why. Yeah,
In the previous
yeah.
piece,
This one,
one before,
this one.
yes, the glass in the middle. The
No.
glass,
No,
it's not glass.
that's the trick.
It's
That's the trick.
It's a trick.
a tree.
It's a trick.
Trick.
It's a trick.
Yeah. What kind of?
So,
What do you mean?
Oh, yes.
you mean you have
Yeah,
glass.
I ask you, what do you mean? What kind of trick it is?
Yes. What sort of trick is it? Yes, go on. I didn't ask you.
Yeah, but I ask What do you mean? What is it?
What I mean is,
What do you think?
what do I think?
Yeah.
It is? I think it's small pieces of cast glass that look like diamonds
Wow.
that are put together.
No, no. It's a simple pitch means PIT butters.
Yeah, but not this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is it
So yeah, it's just filled with water, and optically it looks like such a nice and good glass.
Now you tell us. You were clever.
Sorry?
So it's not a cast on the plastic bottle.
No, it's just plastic bottle.
It's just plastic.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Here's us thinking it's glass.
yeah. Good for you.
Very effective.
So, one of the last installation work, if you see at the border there is a water, in the middle earth, and the glass sheet lighting background. And at the end of the room there is a flat, not beeping light. It's a yellow beeping light. And the title of this installation is a bay, just a bay. So, I don't know.
No.
Double,
The
double,
way.
double A.
Oh, the
A.
way.
Sorry, my pronunciation is. So, and the glass is also not recycled, but from factory. They produce for the staircase, but staircase. No,
Yes.
Staircase.
yeah. But finally they didn't deal in. So the next series is open and public sculptures. The first sketch for it. It was a temporary exhibition in the center of Budapest. It's a 4.5 meter wide and 1.5 high. Another temporary exhibition in countryside. And also this from factory. At the same time, then I used the metal dust. It's a glass metal symposium, but it isn't a metal. It's a special material, apolic, which between two thin aluminum layer, there's a kind of resin, and it gives me a possibility to make a mini life-size model to use later the toughened glass, like this one.
So do they make, when you've decided on the size and whatever, does the factory make the glass shapes for you, or do they just give you the length and you slump it?
It's not slanted.
So they just give you the lengths of glass you specify from the factory? Yeah?
I give them a draw, and they or I cut it, and they just toughen. That's all.
I see.
I just a few sentences. It was one of the last commission work. You see the roof inside. It's a 100 square meter roof. It was a formal, not formal. It was a bath in turn of century, in the last century in Budapest. It's built and designed in a secession style. It was so nice building. Also, there are marble covered pillars, and in a marble there are two stripes which filled with glass mosaic, and I made it as an restoration work. And finally, the owner, after he saw my catalog, find this sculpture and asked me, it's possible to erect it here, and why not? Just go ahead if you have enough money, not a problem. So originally it was exhibited in 2000 at, on the lake in Budapest. It's an event of turn of century. Let's find out. Another one in Transylvania. I used a local stone in the middle and the top, and also useful wood. I made this in Cipressa, Italy. Also, I used a local stone. It was an invitation at a private private symposium, and I brought with me a few toughened glass just in case. Maybe I can use it. And I made it in the last year for an art fair exhibition in Budapest. It is my life, it is my heart.
Not broken.
Not broken?
No. Your heart.
No, just part, you know. It's illusion, just. So, and here are the last of experiences with toughened glass and fighting bicycle tubes and toughened glass, which is harder, less semester everyday life. Thank you for your attention.